how to make $1,000,000 in the next 12 months in 2019. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Martel here. And if you know who I am, welcome back to, I guess, the video feed here. And if you're new to my style of teachings and everything that I do, go on stevemartel.com, take a look at all the businesses I've built for myself, and more importantly, the over $800 million that I've created for my students. We are so close to $1 billion in wealth created through the strategies and techniques that I've been teaching over the last 10 years, a decade now, and I need your help to create some more. So basically, the idea of me recording this video today, being here with you, live actually, welcome, hello, is yesterday I posted a video of my son who he did phenomenally well over the weekend when he did a hat trick in hockey. For all our fellow Americans who are with us here, ice hockey, as some of my friends down in Mississippi call it. Anyways, a hat trick is scoring 3 goals, and it was his finals. So basically, the last team that was winning, going for gold or silver, he won 5-2, and he did 3 goals. And basically the lesson I was showing is how an 11-year-old boy was able to visualize every single movement, every single muscle he was going to use to be able to score the hat trick. And I have 4 children, all under 11 years old. Jake is my eldest, and we practice this for pretty much anything. And the point of the video yesterday was to show that, you know, being successful does not necessarily mean it is of a monetary equivalent. It could be in anything in your life, from losing weight to cutting out bad habits to making money. And the reason I want to do this video today is because I mentioned that it doesn't necessarily have to be about making $1 million. And the interesting thing is, I can't tell you how many times, I got 2 messages, and I thought that it was worth making a video about it. People seem to still be intimidated by the idea of making $1 million in a 12-month period. There's so many real estate agents and business owners and entrepreneurs that we are helping, and every time that I ask them, what is your financial goal, aside from time, aside from what is that metric that you are using to measure your success, money is one of the #1 things that always pop up. And I asked them, how much are you looking to make? And their numbers, you know, most of the time, my clients are going to be around 250 to 300, trying to make that $500,000. And I'm the guy that wants to push them to making $1 million. And a lot of people are intimidated by it. So thank you for the 2 individuals that messaged me yesterday about being honest about the intimidation of the $1 million factor. And I remember 15 years ago when I was starting my first business, when I was a real estate agent, it took me a lot to convince myself mentally that I was capable of making $1 million in a year. And it was literally simply because I was not mentally ready just yet. Now, I'm not going to be the individual here that's going to try to convince you that, you know, your first million is the hardest to do, and after that, it gets easier. It is a fact, and it is completely true that, you know, Bob Proctor says it best. The only reason you're incapable of making $1 million within a year is because you are simply not aware of how to make it. Today, you know, No Hype Digital, I would have not have started this company if I wasn't convinced that I could make $10 million in the first year. And that's just because my level of awareness is there, and my goal is $100 million in the next 3 years for this specific company. Now, what I want to do is give you specific strategies on how to convince your mind to be able to do that $1 million. And it's a very simple strategy. You need to chunk it down. So what I mean by this is, let me take the real estate agent Example. So I was 18 years old. I was still living at mom and dad's, and I was convinced that I was going to make $1 million in my third year as a real estate agent when I was going to turn 21 years old. So what I did, and unfortunately I'm in my phone booth right now, there's construction happening in my office and it was too noisy, so I wanted to have something a little more quiet. So I don't have my whiteboard to draw it, but I need you to visualize this with me. I need you to take a specific date that you're going to actually make $1 million, okay? So let's say 3 years. If you're already making $1 million, please use these philosophies to then grow yourself to $10 million, okay? In 3 years from now, take a specific date. It could be in a year, it could be in 2 years, it could be in 5 years. It is up to you. But it is very important to understand that whatever date you select is what you truly have to believe and feel. Just like my son, when I'm talking about doing a hat trick, he needs to be able to believe in his mind that he is capable of doing it, because you need to feel it and believe it. So if you're truly not convinced that in a year you can do it, push it a little more. That's my suggestion. I know it goes against everything that everybody else teaches on think big, think big, think big. We are going to think big, but let's push that timeline, because as what happened to me is I did this philosophy that I'm going to teach you, and it actually happened in 2 years, not in 3 years, okay? So it was a good surprise. So all this being said, if you're just joining us now, this is the breakdown of how to chunk down to the every single day tasks that need to happen in order for you to make $1 million. So let's get back to this. How to make $1 million in your business. I'm using the real estate angle as an example. So the first thing you need to do, as I mentioned, pick the day you will make that $1 million, that $10 million, that $100 million, wherever you are currently. And if you're really not convinced that you can make $1 million, the same philosophy works for $250,000, okay? Take that date. Number 2, know how you're going to make it happen. So this is not a long-term goal that I'm talking about here, because for me, I've brought all my success is literally based on the fact that since I'm 16 years old, I've been reciting twice a day my 2025 goal. That's not the idea today. This is more for a short-term goal. So how are you going to make it happen? So we're going to stick to real estate. So when I was 18 years old, I said in 3 years, I was going to make $1 million in gross commission income, not net, gross. So what I did is I took my $1 million and I broke down all of my metrics. So step 3, break down all of your metrics. So what I mean by the metrics, so if you are a real estate agent, what is the average price? That's a metric. What is your average commission? That's also a metric. How many of your, so then you can go in more details, okay? So let's take it to the $1 million, and let's say $10,000 was the average commission. So that means I need to sell 100 homes, correct? Yes. Never do math when you're live. So I need to sell 100 homes at a $10,000 commission. If you are in an area where the average commission is lower, just do the math, please. I think this is simple. So break down how many homes you need to sell. If you're an entrepreneur, how many clients, if you're selling a service, how many clients do you need to have? What is the lifetime value, 1-year value, immediate value that you get out of every single client? So that is your one metric. So right there, we're saying 100 sales we need to do. For simplicity in math here, guys, let's say 120, okay, whatever. Let's say the average commission is $8,500. So you need to sell 120. Now, what I need you to do at 120, we need to then back it up even more. So from 120, how much is that per month? Well, that's going to be, that's going to be your 10 sales per month, okay? So 10 sales per month. So you see how this is becoming a little simpler and more digestible, right? Okay, well, looking at it from the perspective of we went from $1 million broke it down to, well, it's actually only 120 sales to, well, that only means 10 sales per week. Now let's break, per month. Now let's break it down to a per week basis. How many sales do you actually need for it to be possible on a weekly basis? So for simplicity purposes, that means 2 sales per week. Well, hold on. 2 sales per week is what we need to achieve. So instead of wrapping, so the point here that I'm getting at is a lot of people are afraid of the $1 million number. Let's remove it. Let's not even fight it. I'm not going to spend my time trying to convince you that you can do it $1 million. Just get your mind around it. Let's just reframe it to it is 2 sales per week. Your goal is to achieve 2 sales per week. Okay? So that is the first part of making it happen, is we'll take the $1 million word away and we're going to replace it with you need to achieve 2 sales per week. Now, how to actually make it happen. So we need to believe we're able to do it, but now we need a plan of action. So we're going to go into a second set of metrics now. So to be able to do 2 sales per week in real estate, but if it is in an industry where you're selling widgets at $10, how many widgets do you need to sell to be able to make your $1 million? Do the math, so on and so forth. So now to achieve, let's go back to 10 a month for simple math purposes. That means you need to be able to meet how many new people on a daily basis. So we need to reverse map it, because you may be thinking, well, 2 sales a week seems like a lot, Steve. I've only sold 10 houses in the next year. So now what we need to do is to be able to break down what is the step-by-step process that we're going to do to make this happen. So let's look at our metrics. How many houses do you actually put on the market, or how many buyers you actually meet that actually turned into a commission check? So let's say, and now this is going to get a little complicated for me on math here, but let's say 70% of the people that you meet actually turn into a commission. So now what we need to do, if you're looking to achieve 10 sales, that means you need to get how many contracts signed. For simplicity purposes, let's say that turns into 15. So you need now to meet 15 people on a monthly basis that sign a contract to be able to do those 10 sales per month to achieve those 2 sales per week. Now, out of all the people you meet, how many of those actually turn into a signed contract? Let's say it's 50-50. So now, if you are meeting 15 people, you need 15 contracts signed to make 10 sales happen. Let's meet 30 people per month. So now you're saying, whoa, now the numbers are getting big. That's 1 person per day. So to be able to get your 10 sales per month, you need to be able to meet 30 people per month, which is only 1 person a day. Are you full-time in your business or not? That is simply an hour a day that you need to be able to dedicate to face-to-face meetings. Now, to be able to get those face-to-face meetings, you need to be able to schedule those. So what that means, if you're using the system that I use, that we preach on, that works extremely well, let's use simple math again. That means you need to be talking to 60 qualified leads. So with 60 qualified leads, individuals that are telling you, yes, I am looking to buy or sell a house in the next 3 to 6 months, you need to be able to talk on the phone with 60 people. That's it. So if you talk on the phone with 60 people and follow the script, if you need a good, amazing script that converts a lot more than 50% of the time, if you're generating good quality leads like we do, you'll be able to book at least 50% of those people to face-to-face meetings. So let's do the math. You now need to be able to talk to 60 people per month. Now you're saying, oh my goodness, Steve, 60 people, that's a lot of people. Let's chunk it down. To be able to do 60 calls on a weekly basis, well, hello, Crystal. Hi. Welcome to our Facebook Live.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You want to say hi to everybody?
I just really need the laptop.
There's a lot of construction going on, so a lot of stuff is not workable here. So to be able to do your 60 calls, folks, a call is no more than 5 minutes. In my office, real estate offices, it needs to be under 3 minutes and a half. So 5 minutes times 10 is 50 minutes. So times 6, that'll be, let's say 400. Let's say we're going to be looking at how many hours? 8 hours per month. Let's call it 10 hours per month that you need to be on the phone. Can you do that on a monthly basis? That means an hour a day, folks. So now what we've just done is reverse map, and I hope you're kind of visualizing this. It's very hard because I don't have a whiteboard to actually break it down for you. If you do, I'm gonna record a video proper on doing this. I've got a great worksheet that I can break down for you. Send me a message, write it in the box, in the comments below, and I'll make sure that in the next couple of days when I record it, I can send it over to you. But essentially, you are now saying that 1 hour a day is for meetings and 1 hour a day is for phone calls. 2 hours out of an 8-hour regular people work week. But if you're a growing entrepreneur, you know that it's 10 to 12 hours a day that you're probably hustling right now to make things happen to grow your business. So all I'm saying here is your $1 million just turned into 2 hours a day. That's it. That's it. So I was able to take that big number and chunk it all the way down. Now, guys, my math is maybe not accurate here. It may be off a little bit, even if it's 3 hours a day. But essentially, I just broke down that if you're able to generate a good quality 60 leads per month, if you're not able to do that, please send me a message, give us a call. We'll typically be able to do that for less than $500 on a monthly basis. So $500 will usually get a good quality lead, about 50 leads, okay? About 10 bucks a lead. In our office, we're getting a little better than that, usually $6 to $7 for good quality. I know a lot of lead gen companies say, hey, we'll generate a lead for $2, but I'm talking about phone number, timing is perfect, quality, they got their pre-approvals and everything here. I'm not talking about crappy leads. But all this being said, we were able to do $1 million and break it down to a daily action plan of an hour a day meeting clients. Call it 2 hours if your meetings are 2 hours. An hour a day doing phone calls, even if it's 2 hours, that's 4 hours. And maybe 2 hours dedicated to good quality marketing and 2 hours dedicated to growing your business, creating systems, and more importantly, just running your operations to be able to grow the business. So all this being said, I know this was a little all over the place. There's a lot of things happening here in the background, but making $1 million is very, very easy if you chunk it down to a daily action plan. That's it. So if you are an entrepreneur that would love to be able to chunk it down, I have a beautifully designed reverse mapping goal booklet that I'd love to give out to you. It is unfortunately designed for real estate agents, but believe me, you can cross out buyer and replace it with your service or your product, okay? And if I've got enough requests, I can easily get the team to jump on and adapt it for your company, or we can always jump on a one-on-one consultation, brainstorm a little bit, and try to figure out how to grow your business from where it is to where you want it to be. But plain and simply put, chunk it down to its simplicity. Don't get overwhelmed with big goals. Break it down, reverse map it. So have your goal in mind, map it backwards like we just did, and then create a daily action plan. And I would even go to a step further. I am very, very adamant about breaking down my schedule, meaning I will only see a new client, or for me, I'm not a real estate agent anymore. I just consult and grow other people's businesses now, more efficient on my time. But I will say I don't do any consultation calls on Mondays and Fridays. I only do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and my time blocks are only between this time and this time, because this time here I'm spending training my team and I will not budge from it. So chunk out your time. All of this said, we're getting a little long here on the video. I hope that this could kind of shed some light. I know it was all over the place here a little bit, but you can always go in the video library, break it down again, or more importantly, let me know what you think. Send me some comments, and if you've got any big challenge in your business, in your life, if it's sales strategies, or you don't like how your things are structured, or you need something new, let me know. I would love to shoot you a video just like this, or even jump on a call and try to dissect it a little more. I wish you great success, and we will talk to each other very